Okay, good morning, everyone. The markets are taking somewhat of a plunge today, and it's still really ongoing. So I don't want to, we'll look at those charts here in a second, but I want to point out a couple trade ideas first, and I'm going to try to make this video relatively short so I can get it out there quickly. McDonald's here. So I just took a short on McDonald's. Look what I like about this one. Daily chart, you've got big negative divergence right there on the daily. And it's just continued to walk up this trend line right here on the daily. So you wait for the sell signal or a break of trend. And we're just getting that today. And you want to make sure it's impulsive. And the other thing is you want to make sure that it actually closes the day below the trend. But as of right now, starting to break down. So here's your hourly chart. And you can see that basically nice impulsive break of that trend line. And it's looking good so far. So if the day closes, I mean, obviously if they manage to pop it up and recover this broken trend line today, that would be a false breakdown. And, you know, you definitely would want to probably stop out and get out of that trade. But if so far it looks like it's breaking down and going to continue. So there's a trade idea on that one. Intel here is actually looking pretty weak. And if you look at the daily here, well, really, if I go back to the weekly, now the week's obviously not over, but you can see that there's been this uptrend line right here on the weekly, and it's there on the daily as well, going back to really 2009. So the entire bull market in Intel is really contained within this upward price channel. And you can see right now, we're just starting to break down from that. So this might be the start of, you know, what you would consider a bear market in this stock. And really from high to low, it's already down 32%. So technically it's in a bear market, but we could be continuing lower here. If you look at the daily, you know, there's the trend line and it's really starting to break down. So if it can't recover this broken trend, then I would say that's probably the end of the bullish trend in Intel. Another trade idea here, DraftKings. This is a long, looks bullish to me. We're kind of at this point. So here's what I see on DraftKings. And this is just a short-term trade. It's not going to be most likely a longer-term trade. But what we've got is bullish divergence right now. And you can see the bullish momentum in the RSI, how the momentum's moving higher. And price continues to make these little marginal new lows. So today, when it dipped below, it actually dipped below and made a marginal new low while bullish momentum is still building. And also, we hit this trend line too, this downtrend line that was created. When it broke to the upside, it looks like a back test. So I think today was a back test of that trend. With bullish divergence. To me, that sets us up for a move up to, you know, probably up to about 47.75, somewhere right in there. So that's kind of the trade idea on this one. Here's an update on this SQ trade. I just covered my short, and for now I'll be, you know, I think we're at a level of support right now. So here is, you know, we took the trade on the breakdown right here. It broke down right there. So there's where we got short. And from the breakdown to where it just hit was about 10%, you know, 9.75% gain in pretty short order. Now it fell right to support here at 170.52. And we've got a reaction here. You can see we had a couple reactions right in here where it held this resistance and then it gapped up and moved higher. So we're coming down into that. And I think that's probably where we'll get a reaction off this. So I went ahead and covered this trade. And we'll go ahead and look for different opportunities. But that was a successful trade, 10% gain on that one. Peloton still looks good, still looks bearish, still looks like it's heading down. So continuing to let this thing run. You had the little level of support right here, which is now broken. So that should be resistance. It's about 120. And so I'd expect that to be resistance now. And as we continue lower, next level that I can see is probably 113.50. Maybe we'll have a level of support there. But ultimately, I think we're coming down to this trend line around $100. Etsy, you can see here. Excuse me. Etsy, you can see here this morning they ramped this thing way up here up around 143.08, but that was a whipsaw, and you can see the hour, then it sold off, and the hour right there closed back below resistance. So big whipsaw signal, that's a bull trap, and 139 continues to hold as resistance. This thing's most likely going lower. We're flagging out as well. This is a bear flag. I suspect we break to the downside, and the bear flag is really pushing us down towards this kind of the objective target is around this 120, 121 area is what I'm seeing as really the measured target for this bear flag. So depending on obviously on when we break, you just take the flagpole, which is about there, measure it out from the breakdown point. Yeah, and it's pushing us down in this area, down around 124. So I think we're going to break down, continuing lower on Etsy. Everything looks good from a technical standpoint to go lower. Carvana continues to look good, selling off, holding below resistance. This is what I thought it would do. If I look at the hourly, I said they closed it just briefly above support, and I suspected they were going to gap, it was going to move back below resistance on Monday, and that's where it's at today. So I continue to look for Carvana to sell off down towards 174 to fill that gap. Pulte Homes continues to look weak. So how I traded this, what I did is when this last week this sold off and started to build support in this area, I covered my short. I figured we were going to have a little bit of a kickback rally, and I was looking to get short again at resistance. So that's what I did right up here at this 43.94 level. I got short again. I figured, okay, we're probably going to go up to the nearest resistance, bounce off that, and then continue down. And that's what we're doing so far. So looking for this to continue lower and head down towards this, 39.58 level. So that's really the trade for me, is heading down there. Once we get down in that area, I'll probably be covering this and moving on. And PayPal, one of my favorite charts right now for a short trade. Just you've got negative divergence on the weekly chart here. You can see there's your negative divergence. Momentum's moving lower, although price was moving slightly higher. You've got negative divergence on the daily chart right there. You can see this is all negative divergence where momentum's continued to roll over and prices have continued to make slightly higher highs. And you have it, I believe, on the hourly as well. Yeah, you do right here. There's your negative divergence on the hourly. If I could get my line tool right there. And you can see prices continue to make slightly higher highs. This was a divergent high. So then you look for a trend line break, and there it is, the nearest term break. Here's your uptrend line right there. We broke pretty impulsively, heading lower. And so on the daily here, you can see, I think ultimately we head down at, should find some support down around this 180, 190 area. And we'll see how much more, but that'll be about a 7% or so gain. There is a slight gap, and there's a bigger gap way down here that has not been filled. So that is possibly the longer term trade, is to run down and fill this gap. That would take, probably weeks to months basically to get down there. But from where we're at, if we fill that gap, that's about a 33% drop. I like that as a trade idea. Volatility here looks good. It's got a bullish divergence in play. You can see that the volatility UVXY has continued to, slightly higher low right here. So we're starting to build bullish divergence, and prices have continued to drift lower. So what I'm looking for is a break above this 1880. A breakout above there should set this thing up for, a move up. Where does that move go? Well, we've got probably the previous highs is, I would say the first target, which would be right around here. Somewhere right in there of 29.30. Maybe we get a reaction there, come down, pull back a little bit. And I've got levels at 45, or it's about 46, and another level at 68. I don't know if we'll get up to that 68 one, but you know, it's possible for this 46 thing. Anything's possible, of course, but these are just things I'm looking at. All right, triple Qs. Let's round it off with the indices here. So coming down into support here, we're probably going to find some buyers right here. I suspect we're now at this 280.54 level. This is the level I'd actually been targeting for a while. Right down here at 280, you know, it's about 280.54. We're just slightly underneath it, but I suspect the buyers step in here. So watch for that. Keep an eye on that. This is, you know, support. You can see we had this as support for a while, this range right in here. So now we're back to it. This is the objective area for the buyers to step in. The SPY, however, has fallen back within this range. So you can see now that we're clearly within this range. I think that, you know, even if we catch a bid in Qs and maybe the SPY bounces up to 342.47, that's probably going to hold as resistance. So I'm looking for that to hold as resistance, and then SPY continuing to work its way down, you know, probably to the bottom of the range, you know, potentially, you know, well, the bottom of the range is, you know, probably down here at 331.24. And what does that mean? Well, if the SPY continues to roll over, Qs is probably, you know, not going to hold up that well either. So kind of mixed signals on the indices right now. But what I see, what to me, what seems probable as of right this moment would be Qs to, you know, find some buyers and start to move higher, SPY to, you know, catch a bid and run up into this resistance area. It's kind of the near-term future that I think is highly probable. Okay, that's all I'm going to get for this morning video. I'm going to get this one out here, and thanks.